Hi everyone. Okay, I'm going to talk to you today about 3D printing, but look up Forks Hammer blog on Instagram, and also Yes That's 3D Printed. They're the two things, or the two sites we're going to be talking about today, so make sure you go and have a look at those. Now, I'm not going to tell you exactly how to 3D print because I don't know, but I've been to my friend's house, Kevin, and he's been showing me what I've got to do. So I just want to show those people who are not really into 3D printing or just thinking about getting into it, what actually is 3D printing? What do you do? Now, there's Kev, and he's on his computer, and he's using software that runs STL files, okay? So he's going through the STL files, and he's placing them on what's called sort of the base plate, if you know. So that's the printer there. That next bit is the wash station. And that last bit there is the curing station. So you print them in the green bit there. You wash them off. So that's the base plate there he's going to be putting in. So he puts that in. He's got a lovely little setup here. He's only just got this room sorted out, so he's going to be putting a lot more shelves up and stuff like that. So the base plate goes in there, or the print plate, or whatever you want to call it. And if you didn't know, 3D miniatures are printed upside down. So you see at the bottom there's like a grey rectangle. That's actually the resin. So the resin goes in there. And the two... you got to use gloves with resin, by the way, it's quite toxic. And the two... Instagram accounts I showed you at the beginning are the ones they've helped us with the resin and the printer and everything, so you can get it there. He's putting the tray in. That's the resin tray there. And what actually 3D printing is with resin is what he actually is getting rid of bubbles and everything here. What it is there's a light, basically ultraviolet light underneath it. Sorry, I was wiping the lens there. Ultraviolet light underneath it, and what it does is it uses the pattern of the file you've put in, and it hits it exactly at the right spot and creates the ultraviolet light makes the resin hard, and it'll build up. You'll see it as we go. It's quite easy to understand once it gets going. So Kev's just topping up the resin there. Now he's cleared it all about, and that's the resin. It was made by one of the Instagrammers, which I've just shown you there. So you can see it's Wargamer, and apparently it's more flexible. Kevin is telling me it's more flexible for the miniatures, so they're not as brittle. So there you go. The resin is all in and ready to go. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to be putting you can see the USB drive there with the red ending. So basically you put the file, so you've designed it on the computer. You don't worry, you don't have to design anything. You buy it and then you just put it on the base plate. You just make sure it fits. You put it into the printer, and then it will say, do you want to print this? You know, same as a normal printer. So, do you want to print this? You say, yes, please. And then it just reads off the card. Now, what it might do, see there, it'll read off the card, but what he's got to do is get up to temperature. So Kev has to let it get up to temperature there. And you'll see, there you go, you see the temperature's rising. He says it needs to get to about 30. And here we are, we're at full temperature now, and the pad is about to start printing. So it zooms down to the bottom, to the resin. It then, all the UV light goes in the pattern, and then it starts pulling up. There you can see it's starting to print now. It'll do that. It'll go up, down, up, down, up, down for hours and hours and hours. But unfortunately, on this day, we had a failed print. We were trying miniatures that were solid, and they're just too heavy to stick onto the base plate, so we failed. About 50% failed there. So so we just cancelled the print. You do get failures. We were trying to experiment with non-hollow miniatures. So we went again, and we started again, and here you can see it coming up and down. It will be zooming up, zooming down. So we got all the holes in it correctly here and made sure that they weren't solid, which is unfortunate because I love solid miniatures. And you can see bit by bit it will start rising up. There you can see it coming out of the tray, being pushed back in, and then it zip, 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 does the next bit. And you get like 98% finish. We're nearly there. And this was late at night. This took about 6 or 7 hours to do. So they're hanging in. It's quite dark now. It's night time outside, and it took us all day. But the plate comes off. You just shake it off, and what you're going to be doing is putting it into the wash station. So that is now still full of resin. You can see the miniatures are there. That's still full of resin. So what you do is you put it in the wash station, which is in there, and you set it going. I couldn't really film this. You literally just dip it in upside down, and it washes them, and it vibrates, and it does it for about 2 minutes. So and there you go. There you can go. You can just see, you pull them out. It's like a fish and chip chop tray. You put it in. It's got like a little cage in it, and it vibrates and washes them. Or you can put them in on the base plate there. So and there they are. That's the actual miniatures. have to excuse the camera. There we go. So they are now cleaned, but they are not cured. Cured means they're not hardened, so they're still quite slimy and a bit flexible, a bit too flexible, but you've got to take them off now. So you just use a paint scraper and you scrape off. It's a metal plate, so you can't really damage it much. And you scrape it off until they pop, and they should just pop off. But the problem is then they start falling all over the place, and then yep, like this. And you've got to try and do it on tissue, and if you've got small bits they can be a little bit brittle and break, so you've got to be careful there. So now we've got to put these into the curer. And you see them little bits on the top, them little spike, the little like structures, almost like what's it called, scaffolding, or what keep it up and keep it there while you print it. And you break them off little bit by little. You get a little bit of speckling on the model, but you know that's what it's designed for. That's the only way you could actually print it. So you'll pull this off, and there's the model itself. This is I forgot whether it's Loot Studios or Flesh of the Gods, but we found them online. I'm not sure. We might have been an individual one we've done. Now you see he's got bottles of cleaner there. You get IPA, which is a alcohol, and he's got water. So he does clean them in alcohol and water, and then he dries them off as best as he can. So you got to dry off the last of the bits, and then what happens is he's going to put it into the curer. But you see this here, this is the box, and that's the IPA and the water. He sprays them in just to get it all off, so it sits in his little box, in his little tray. And then what you do is you put it out in the sunshine, and the resin that's fallen off will cure, because you're not allowed to put resin uncured in the bin, guys. You've got to make sure it's all cured. So spraying it on, spraying it off, and wiping them down to get them as clean as possible before he puts it in the cure. And there they are, the miniatures themselves, ready to go in. Now, as I say, we've been using this Wargamer resin, which we've got Forks Hammer, and the other guy, or the other 3D printed. You can look at these two for help with this. This is where we've got our stuff from. And Kev's now hair drying them, because you know, he's not got any hair himself, so he just uses the hairdryer for all that. And then that's it, there's the curing station. So 3 minutes you've got on them. They spin and they cure under 3D light, which means all the outsides get harder, and however the inside is still, you got to be careful, this might not be cured fully inside, but they have different holes in different drip sections, etc, etc. But here they are, there the miniatures are cured and ready. That's it, they are done now. All the drip holes in, they have to be filled in, the drip holes, or you put them, we're going to change the way, we're going to reprint these two and put the holes in the back and lie them down to make the print quicker, hopefully. But that is the basics of 3D printing, guys. That doesn't mean you're going to, from this video, you're not exactly going to learn what, you know, how to do it, but that gives you a basic idea. Because when people said to me about 3D printing, I had no idea. There was STL files, again back to Wargamer resin. We had STL files, we had like readers, and then there was build plates and FEPs, and there's all sorts of things. But just watching this video, you should get some idea about what to do. So subscribe and like and comment below.